If this is how he makes millions on a day-to-day basis, just know.
Not only are we closing deals, but we're getting shredded, we're getting cash. So next part of the presentation is comping. I call myself a #1 comper in the world. I can value any piece of land that's inside the United States. If it's outside, I might not be able to do it, but I'll figure it out. But I have comped tens of thousands of properties as I've been a land investor. If you don't know me, I'm Rylan Loader. I'm a multi-millionaire land investor. I came from nothing and became a multi-millionaire through land investing. I also own Land Insights and created the best comping tool land investors use. People that start using it have about a 95% chance of coming back and using it every single day. So I live and read this stuff, so I'm going to teach you basically the framework of how I comp deals. So there's two types of comping, okay? You have your line offer comps, and you have your deal comps. More effort is going to go into this, okay? This is when you actually have a deal, when someone says they want to sell, and you actually need to conservatively comp this and make sure you're dotting your I's and then slashing your T's, whatever the f you say, okay? And there's blind offers that you're doing on the front end. You guys are making a lot of these, and you need to build a good framework of coming up with good offers quickly that are conservative, okay? So less effort happens here, more effort happens here, but both of these are equally important, okay? So I'm going to start with our blind offers, since we're going in the order of the process. One of you might learn some stats here, because I know you're going to graduate past the 9th grade. So welcome to stats class. Woody, do you know? So Jeff, what do you know? Do you know what this graph is called?
Fuck no. There's a hill.
Ryan, know what this is called?
Bell curve.
Bell curve. Yeah, by Dr. Dude. This is a bell curve. Okay? Let's just say this is your, let's say this is 10 acres. This is your
Tabika. Okay, 10 years. Just so I can still.
How dare you, dog? Okay, so excuse my handwriting. All right. Assume this is 10 acres, okay? Assume you're in a county. You have multiple 10-acre comps that you're looking at. Let's say it's on a spreadsheet. You got all these 10-acre comps, and the price for acres are dipping across the board, okay? This is your low end. This is your high end, okay? These are outliers. This is the shit property that might be in a slough, or it's on the side of a hill. This is a property that mistakenly got put in your data set. Maybe there's a house on it. Maybe it's a crazy entitlement opportunity. Maybe it's a commercial. These are your normal residential agriculture comps. This is where the median is happening. This is a median, okay? So for the most part, comps are going in here, right? So let's say you're looking at a data set. You just pull in a raw data set of all 10 acres. And again, it's rough, right? You're not always going to have a perfect 10 acre. That might be an 8 acre. There might be a 12 acre in there. But let's just say you have this data set in here and you're just guessing what the average value is of a 10 acre deal, okay? Everything's ranging. You never want to consider this. You never want to consider this. And you never want to consider this. We're land flippers. Our goal is to sell land as quickly as possible. In order to do that, we can't do anything special. So the only thing we can do is sell it low. So get your dreams out of the way that your land's worth this. I fund deals all the time, and I fucking hate when people send me comps that are in this range. I get pissed. Because it's never going to sell at that price. You have to sell it quick. We're land investors. We make money by selling properties quick. It has to be sold in this area. So realistically, land sells, from my experience, I've sold hundreds of properties. Land sells at this value. This is where it sells. It's not selling here. It's not selling the median. It's not selling that slightly below the median. It's selling below the median.
From a percentage standpoint, just ballpark, what would you project that? Like 10, 30%?
I'd say it's, 10 to 30% of your comps in that area.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. Yep. So if you do a simple average calculation and you say, oh, it's worth this on average, it's not going to worth that. It has to be worth 10 to 30%.
Which means you got to I like that.
You need to buy really cheap.
On average, how long do you want to sell properties?
On average, I want to sell the properties within 5 days. That's the goal.
Normally, what do you?
On average, we're selling like 60 days, 60, 90 days. But obviously there's outliers. Sometimes it takes a year to sell these properties. Sometimes it takes 5 days to sell these properties. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So get your hopes and dreams out of the way that your land's worth this. If it's a commercial property, it might end up over here. That's a different case. On average, if it's residential or ag, it's gonna end up here. Every once in a while, if you're in a really, really high demand market, properties are flying out the market, it might end up somewhere in here. But for the most part, what I've seen over the 100 properties I've sold, it's in here. Okay? That being said, you come up with this value, that 10 to 30% value of the average of the properties that sold, you come up with that value, let's say it's $5K per acre. That means it's worth 50 grand. So that means a 10 acres worth $50,000 based on your estimate, okay? You're setting a blind amount for you sending a letter. You want to nail about 40% of that value. So somebody calculate that for me. That's 40% of 50,000. It's going to be
70,000 pepper.
worth cent and 50,000.
No, it's going to be 20,000. Wait. 20,000 is where percent about.
40,000? That was good.
Yeah.
That's what your blind offer should be. Your max offer. Max offer, so that I like to do 40%. No blind offers. But if I'm really reaching, I might go 60%. Well, I'm go higher than that. 60% is pushy. Okay. You don't have a lot of margin right here. And again, there might be, I didn't say again, there might be a for sale cost that's down here. And if you buy that property, you need to list it below that. You find real low rent before your son. Yeah,
You do.
yeah.
When's the timing of knowing when to go below the 40% so you're not getting much people to tell you, go yourself? That's a ridiculous offer.
Sometimes I like to take a risk.
Sure.
Yeah,
It's like a visual.
let's say it's a less common market that I found that I noticed nobody really works it. Like I've never heard of this market, or I've never heard of land investment program there. I might throw in 25% off for sure. Might get away with it, but on average, this is where I'm usually seeing. Fair enough. And I might push to 60. Okay, all right.
I'm sorry to keep asking for a question, but does that shave from text to mail? Because mail is pretty expensive. And it's the whole entire area you want to get leads. So then you are on phone. It's better to have someone call you. It's better to have someone call you than not talk. Handle. It's ridiculous.
You also mentioned it's harder to go back, but an offer while you guarded at the upper. Yeah, we'll see that with us when we talk.
Yeah, so I was speaking with Coach last week. He's struggling currently because he offered too high on a lot of the blind offers he made. And he's been having to circle back with sellers who were interesting. Obviously, the sellers are going to be interested if you offer too high. Now we're trying to circle it back and trying to negotiate. Oh, your land, it's like on the slope. I need to excavate it. Oh, no, I'm not a do it. You I'm not for land shit. So yeah, I can go. So this is all important. It's important to nail this right, because if you make your offer correct on the front end, you're going to get that deal and it's going to go through smooth. You're going to kill you. But if you offer too high, then that's to circle back a lot. You need to be really good at sales. I'm not saying you shouldn't be good at sales. I'm just saying it's easier to do it right. You know, not the first time around. So all I need to do is get this purchase agreement signed. Everyone's happy at the end of the day, right? And you said, what about text? Because text is a little cheaper. You can go up to 60%. But you might run in the same situation as Coach, where you have to circle back and you need to be good at sales.
So that's basically the hard talk. Why wouldn't you be able to say so?
It's up to you. I'd rather get really good deals all the time and have to talk with less sellers who want more.
Yeah. I like to run you.
I have really good salespeople on my team, but at the end of the day, I've got a big marketing budget. I'd rather just get killer deals.
Cool.
Yeah.
Smart.
Okay. So the way I do this is I figure out what the average value is on a certain band. So let's say I'm mailing 2 to 200 acres.
Let's just say $2 acres.
I'm going to find the value of the most common pieces of acreage within this data set, and I'll connect the dots after that. So I'm going to figure out what a 2 acres worth. I'm going to figure out what 5 acres worth, what a 10's worth, 20, 40, 80, 100. So I'm going to figure out the values of all of these, because the most common pieces of land are at these acreage points. You all can agree on that. Yeah. I'm not going to comp a 65 acre piece of property. That's less common than 80. It's less common than 100. The way land was chopped up back in the day, it usually started as 320 acres, and they chopped that up into 80 acres, and they chopped up into 40 acres. Makes sense because they're dividing by even numbers, but it was usually 320 acres in a mule. Was that what it was, or was it 180 acres in a mule? 40 acres in a mule. Okay, whatever. But they were 320 before that. All right. My bad.
Golden present.
All right. So I'm going to use that whole Boker system to come up with the values. We already figured out what 10 acres is worth. We figured out it was worth 50 grand. Okay. Let's just say we did that whole thing. We brought in the whole data set, or Rube outliers. We looked at the median, and we went below that median. All right. Let's say 5 acres is worth 30. 2 acres is worth 20. 20 is worth 75. 40 is 100. 80 is 150. 100 is 250. These are just random numbers. It probably doesn't make sense to you guys, but they're random numbers, right? So you guys obviously exported the data set. You need to price out that mail. You need to price out that marketing campaign, whatever. And you guys have 3.34 acre properties that are in your data set. Obviously, we haven't covered that yet, but we need to calculate that. So what we do is a simple rise over run equation. Okay? So we rose, between 2 acres and 5 acres, we rose 3. And we ran 10,000. Sorry. We rose off run over rise. Yeah, run over rise. My bad, guys.
Why?
You get the gist of it. We rose 10,000s, and we went over 3 acres, okay? So 10,000 divided by 3, what is that?
We know you're. Yeah, he's not smart. I'm old. Yeah.
Okay. So that being said, you just create a simple Excel equation in your spreadsheet that shows every 1 acre you rise, it goes up 3,333. But you need to, like, if it's 2.2 acres, you need to make sure that equation makes sense. I'm not going to help you guys do Excel equations. You guys can figure that shit out on your own. But that's your rise over run equation. Use ChatGPT to get figure it out, but that's how you connect the dots for every single acreage point you ever get. Okay? So we figured that out. Okay? We're going to do the same thing between these. Okay?
Oh, yeah. 3 low. What do you mean? That's squad, too.
So we're going to do 20,000, because 30,000 to 50,000 is 20,000. That's the difference. Divided by 5. Woody equals 20,000 divided by 5. Woody? 4 something. 4,000. So good job. So our every acre we go up, we go up by 4,000. Okay, between here and here. And the reason why I do this is because you don't ever have a perfect situation where it's like that. For some reason, because there's so many statistical anomalies, there's so much demand for certain acreages over others, you're never going to have a perfectly exponential decay equation. So the best way to do this is just do linear equations between all these data sets that you know. This is the way I do it. This is what works. My offers are correct most of the time. So this is how I do it. I kind of explained it, but ultimately you're not going to have a perfect equation. You can't just make one perfect equation that connects all the dots. It's not going to be accurate. This is how you get hyper accurate with your blind offers. Questions?
I mean, that was really good first stuff.
You're not done. I'm not done. This is party. A good start.
Question on, so way back we had the bell curve. If you, let's say you're looking at 10 acres, can you come up with, there were $5,000 an acre, but that's on the median. you have a percentage that
Say that again? Okay, so we didn't need older. You have what it your medium price spike off. I would see some what you're seeing what you've been for so like maybe service or Emily come up that was inside a juice
Hey, we're filming. Oh no, sorry. She's sold for. It's still filming, right? Yeah. This one's still filming.
is yeah. Good. Dues on for 36. So are you hoping at the 5,000 number and take a percentage off of that?
or is it taking, okay, you're up 3 or 4 that's sold per quarter, or that's kind of the lowest number, we're going to go with that. Does that make sense? Yeah, let you finish.
Sure.
The man been out of the text message and changed it, blew himself under the house.
Is it good?
Well, is it good? How are you?
Huh?
Well, she's rounding.
Good. All right. Yes. All right, buddy. You had a question, like, oh, if there's this many at this acres or that at this price breaker, there's this many at this price breaker. What do we do? Yeah.
So make that bill survey there.
So this is
Like we're talking about the 10 acre that we I tend to ask them for their
Yeah, rates.
yeah, that's a great spot.
yeah. So let's say
It's right. You take.
I'd rough too.
Alright.
Can you repeat the question? So less for Bell Bell. Oh, it's a trick. So repeat the question. Yeah, big question how we right.
So how do you decide, like, if the property's it's a take or you think it's worth about 5,000 acre? That's the medium price. How are you deciding? Are you just going to go take 40% off of that? Or are you going to look at the lower, maybe there are a couple comes at 4,400, there were a couple comes at 54.
oh, any time code this will be in you. So I think this is good that you're asking.
Yeah, so because the medium price is 5, but you should probably go, are you taking that and using the 4,400, or you take your percentage off 5,000?
Okay. So this is 5 to 10 acres is the price per acre. As you guys know, price per acre is up when you're at 5 acres. It's going to be much higher than 20 acres because the more land you have, the cheaper it is, price per acre, right? So on ours, like this, let's say this is your median. Okay, this is about the center. That's about the center of all your comps. You have your outliers. Like this is the commercial of the house. This is landlocked or flood zone, right? Well, this is about your average, right? Over time. So as I said before, your bell curve, you want to be here. Okay? So that is about here. That's about the value. See, we're like on the very low end of all those comps. We want to be very, very conservative. Get your hopes and dreams out of the way that goes with this stuff. Anyway, so we see this. Your line, she's on here. This is value. Value, not offer. This is your value, market value based on comps. Okay? Does that answer your question? And okay, that's good. That's that 10-30%. That's good. Stat question. What is this called? What do you? Fine. I don't know. I'm talking scatter plot, right?
Oh, scatter. Oh, the spot. I thought you were talking about. I thought you had what the other. You're talking about. Yeah, that's like that's all the dual line. I mean that. Yeah, so that's how they trace your mail rods. You're saying.
I'm being ultra conservative. If there's a data set of comps, I'm assuming these are landlocked properties. I'm assuming this is the average.
Yeah.
If you list your property for a year, it might sell for this, right? And then these are your houses, your farmland, all that bullshit that somehow slipped through the cracks and is sold. This is the land we're targeting. This is the land we're selling. If you want to sell it fast, it's out of here. Yeah. I will say though, like I priced like I was gonna too did like the higher you're definitely gonna get more response, the lower it's gonna be a lot of come to you. Yeah, fuck. So if you're doing like very low cost, if you're doing 25% in market value, it's like you gotta send a lot. But when those come through, you get really good deals. But if you market at 60% of market value, then you're gonna have a lot of people interested.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta circle back. You're gonna be really good sales.
So amount of letters sent and gross just revenue, you're gonna be making just statistically more off the higher, the higher response rate, or the higher response rate, the higher offer.
I think it's gotta depend. Like, I think texting that works very well to do because you have such low quality leads. I think with mail, it's like you're spending so much time to get them on the phone.
But if you know how to negotiate here, 60%, the people who would pick up this 40% will go down.
You actually negotiate that way.
That's my point.
But the people who don't even think about that, are clicking run your business however you want on that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying, if you the 40% people wouldn't even have picked up compared to the 60%, you could maybe price drop them to 50 after a good sweet talk.
What time's the thing, yeah? It's 6 or 7 right now. I just want oh shoot, I gotta go. I know, that's fine. All right. Yeah, I'll leave it at you. All right.
John?
All right, YouTube, we out of here. This has been the Land House.
This is literally the land house. To be continued, part 2. I'll cover it tonight.
I got your back. Thank God for coach.
Thank you, Coach.
I got you, bro.
This is how he makes millions on a day-to-day basis. Just know.
Buddy forgot about
Not only are we closing deals, but we're getting shredded. We're getting tan.
We're getting big. I'll be honest.
I'm like,
older, but we're getting big. I actually have a date over at 7 o'clock.
I'm like,
When do you have a date? He recovered. A little background. He recovered the bag. Great text. Amazing. Back end game will be covered on this YouTube too.
Bag was dropped. It was on the floor and Coach was
And he picked it up right now. What do you got to say, Coach?
I'm trying to hear J-Bone, but it's hard.
What you got to say, bro?
It was just
Go ball that, bro. Goddamn.
Too far to keep recording.
tomorrow.
We're at the LI Studios or the MTV Studios next week.
Okay.
We out.
We out.
It's been about 24 hours, since I presented comping 1.0. Now we're at comping 2.0.
Can you touch on what happened between 1.0 and 2.0?
Tweets. I had a date, and then our size and come Richie Corda.
How did the day go? Full and pure. It went well.
Were you late to the day because of your presentation?
I was 15 minutes late to the day because of the presentation. So guys, leave a like, subscribe, stay tuned, as I'm sacrificing everything to make sure you all are educated and great land investors. All right. See you, folks.
Yeah. Bring them some like best people.
Summer's no spot peak. It's good. All right. So we're going over deal comping. Okay. Deals. This is much more different than pricing a mailer. You're going to mess up a lot of the time in the price of mailer. But on a deal, somebody's interested, they want to sell. You can't mess up that comp. This is the most important comp that you're doing. So you got to spend time on this. Okay? So let's say you offered $40,000 on our properties. And you thought on your mailer it was worth $80,000. Not gonna be worth that. Every single property is gonna be completely different. If you just price out a mailer, you're like, oh, 10 acres is worth $80,000. So if I order 40, it's always gonna be worth 80. It's never the case. Your initial offer is never the same because every property is different. Okay, and I'm gonna go into the reasons why. So when you get a deal, you go pull it up on your platform, Land Insights, and we have the comping tool. We built the comping tool just for this reason, right? You want to make sure you guys are very accurate with your deal comps. So you're gonna pull up that property, and the first thing you're gonna be looking at, let's just say this is 10 acres. You're gonna go and you're gonna select comps in the range of 7 to 40 acres. Because
there's going to be comps in there. Like, not every comp's going to be 10 acres, right? So there's going to be comps that are 8 acres, there's going to be comps that are 9, there's going to be comps that are 13. Those are all relevant because they're around that same range. Now, I would know what that percentage is. You can calculate what that percentage is off of that 10 acres, but you always want to be hitting both sides just to make sure you're getting an accurate sample size into what you're viewing with comps. Okay, so you guys can do that calculation whenever that percentage down from the 10 acres to whatever that percentage up is. Rough numbers, but it goes the same for, like, let's say 30 acres. Like, let's say you got a deal that's 30 acres. You're going to look at COGS between 22 and probably 40 acres. Those are all relative, I would say. You could slim it down a little bit. You can maybe do 25 to 35. That might be a little more accurate. I'd say it's still a little too much. Like, go 25 to 35 if you're looking at a 30 acres. So a 25 acre comp price per acre is probably going to be the same as a 35 acres. So you just bring in more into your sample size, because in a lot of these cases, you're not going to have enough comps to go off of that make you feel like it's going to be accurate, because you might have, like, let's just say you did 28 to 32 acres. You're not going to have a lot of comps in that range, but you do 25 to 35, you're going to have a good sample size to go off of to make an accurate estimate. But I wouldn't do 15 acres to 50 acres, because 15 acres is going to be a much higher price per acre than 30 acres. So you want to stay relevant. So 25 is a good low end, 35 is a good high end if you look at 30 acres. And then, of course, with 10, 7 or more T. Okay?
Excuse me.
Okay, so you thought when you priced out your mailer that it was worth 80 grand. We're going to prove that as soon as we get a deal coming. So somebody calls you up, they say, hey, I'll take your offer for 40, or hey, I want to counter at 50 or something like that. So you have that conversation. So the first thing you're going to look at is for sale. What is for sale? People mess this up all the time, and it irritates me so much. I hate when people only give me sold comps. Where's the for sale comps? This is what pisses me off the most when I'm reviewing deal funding submissions, okay? For sale, this is the most important thing you should be looking at. Obviously, sold comps are good, but if there's a for sale listing that's a great property and it's lower than all of these sold listings that you gave me, all your sold listings go out the door, because this is current market value. Current market. Okay? The reason why for sale is important is because you have to compete with this when you list this deal for sale. Whatever is lowest on the market that's a quality property is going to sell quicker. So it makes sense that you usually be listing lower than this, because our goal is to sell faster.
Okay, you have a question? Yeah. So on that, because it annoys you that people are only saying you solds, love that, agree to it. Obviously, you know what you're doing. You're the best comper in the world. You made that clear, and like the numbers prove that as well too. So for people who are trying to get better at this and have better understanding, what's a good ratio that we should be focusing on actives to solds? That is going to help us on a long-term trajectory know like how to more accurately be comping while incorporating that active listing amount with the for sales.
I mean, there's no ratio to it. Right? Let's say there's 40 sold properties.
Yeah.
And there's 2 listings that are lower than all these. Like, I'm going to look at these. Yeah. And obviously I'm going to look at these too. But the first thing I'm looking at is these 2.
Yeah, so you start with the for.
You start with
the actives and the for sales, and then you'll look at like what 3 or 4 solds.
I'm always looking, like we talked about the Fels curve.
Yeah.
I'm just doing rough math. I'm not bringing this all into a spread. Oh yeah, I'm looking at the Land Insights combat. I'm like, okay, what's on the lower end of everything? What's kind of in here?
This is why I'm just saying, like, as an SOP mentally, like, okay, so I start on the actives, start with a couple, so I can, when I make sure I present it to you, who is the best comforter? Like, okay, he's clearly looking at actives, he's not busted, he's not just looking at solds, you know, but then you're also going to look at some solds too. So that's where I was like, how many of each, and trying to just figure that out of like, what's a good cadence on doing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but start with the actives.
So my whole goal when looking at the, like, we'll just go in chronological order. Yeah. I guess the goal when we start with for sale is I'm looking at the cheapest stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
We selected 7 to 14 acres. We're looking at 7 to 14 acres because it's a 10 acre property we're looking at.
Yes.
I'm looking at the cheapest stuff going
in order from lowest to smallest. So I'll start with the cheapest. And I'm looking at the actual listing. So a landing site, so you can pull up the URL, you can look at that listing. What I'm looking for is, okay, what is that property's shape? Is there anything messed up about it? Is there a steep slope? Is it completely in a flood zone or wetland? And the way I find that is sometimes they'll have the lot lines like on a drone, or they might have like a GIS map overlay showing the shape. So I'll look at that, see if I can prove that. And then I'm also looking at the description. So if a listing, like generally, if a listing ever says flood zone, wetland, or recreational, if it says flood zone, wetland, or recreational, if that ever shows up in that listing, that probably means there's something really wrong with it. Because nobody would ever bring up any of this unless there was something wrong with it. This is a big turnoff. All these three words are big turnoffs to all investors.
So I'm doing recreational.
Well, if you say recreational, you don't like bring up that it's a good spot for a home. If you just say, oh, this is a great recreational piece,
Okay.
that's kind of assuming that it's not buildable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another one there, secluded is a bad keyword.
Yes, I
See that a lot.
Yeah.
So sorry.
I forgot we were recording.
What do you say?
Oh, just some bad words. We'll keep rolling. We'll end it in post.
See ya. It slipped us.
What did you say?
Use that shit.
Shit? Oh, that's fine.
Oh, okay. So it's all fucking good then. Yeah. You think? Yeah. Put it. Yeah. Fuck Cinco.
We can say,
Hey, no monetization. That'll undo.
Bringing the fun back in the last best. Yeah.
okay, so we're looking for these keywords in the description on these for sale listings. If it has these and you have a feeling there's something wrong with it, X out that comp. So comp number 1, it has any of this, forget about it. We don't have to worry about it. Go up to the next level. So we're trying to go to the lowest listed for sale property that is quality. That means, okay, it has a decent shape, it's flat, it's buildable, there's no crazy flood zones or wetlands on it. It's basically, we're just looking for a buildable property that is just average. It's like similar to yours. So if your property, it doesn't have flood zone, wetlands, crazy slopes, like it's a good property, it's gonna sell. But if it has this, it's gonna be very difficult to sell it. And that's why it would be listed lower than the rest of the costs, like on average, right? So we're just looking to find that lowest listed for sale property. So it only really needs to be one. So you're gonna have a lot of for sales on the market, and you're looking at what's cheaper than like this area, that lower end of your comps at what you're looking on the map, okay? And we're gonna mark that one for sale listing that's the lowest and its quality, okay?
Please. Just get a f***ing Jawser size.
I can sure pour a lot.
Coach. Oh no, you think like.
Okay, so we got this lowest quality for sale comp that we found, right? We don't need more than that because we already found our baseline. We already found that baseline that we have to compete with. So this property, the reason why I look at it first is if it was a quality property, it's for sale. That means if we get this deal, this 10-acre property, we have to list it lower than this listed property for sale. That's why I always look at it first. Next thing we would do is actually look at comps. Look at sold comps. Okay? So we're looking for this. On your map, Land Insights, you've got tons of properties in there, okay? Are all over the place. I like to stay relative by kind of looking at like a 5-mile radius around your property if we're looking at something like 10 acres.
But looking at something small though, like a quarter-acre lot, you want to stay in that neighborhood of that subdivision. But if we're dealing with bigger pieces of acreage, 5-mile radius is good to be looking at. So we're gonna look at all these. Let's say this is your property. That's the 5-mile radius. We're gonna look at all these, okay? I'm looking for this. I don't give a shit about stuff that's sold over here. Irrelevant. It's not gonna sell at that. We're trying to sell these quick. They're all gonna sell here, the lower end, because you won't sell them quick, okay? So we're looking at these and we're figuring out kind of what that point is in the middle right here. Like, what's our guess, okay? So we're marking all these, we're figuring out what that average value is in there, okay? So once you figure out what that value is, I'll call it the lower bell curve value. Next thing we're going to do is compare. We're to compare
This and this. Okay.
if that value is higher than this for sale, we have to beat this over here. This,
Why do we have to beat that?
because this is what's for sale in the market. I don't give a shit about your comps when there's something lower on the market for sale. Comps are irrelevant at that point because we yet to compete with this. This gives us current market conditions, okay? If this property or quality is still for sale and it's lower than your comps, that means the new market is sitting here. I'm not saying if you list higher than that for sale, it's not going to sell. I'm just saying we can be conservatively confident that it will sell because it's lower than this listed for sale, okay? So we're comparing. So if this is lower than here, then this is our new baseline. If this is higher, if this is lower than this is our baseline. If this is higher than this is our baseline. Okay.
So you basically take the lowest priced or sold quality property, and that's your baseline. You try to get out there.
Yeah, well, you come up with this value, and this one, when it is lower, is your baseline.
Are you taking, on the sold comps, are you taking the lowest one or the lowest kind of average? Like, let's say there's 3 that are over in the bell curve on the left.
Yeah, taking that. I like this. Kind of like the average of these. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that's our comparison. So at that point, we could kind of make our offer from there. Obviously, it's not always going to be perfect. So there's going to be situations where your property has different conditions, okay? What those wetlands can affect the value. So let's say your property's 10 acres and it's 50% in the flood zone or a wetland. It doesn't really matter. Flood zone, wetland, same thing. Regardless, it's probably not going to be easy to build. I'm not saying it's not possible to build a flood zone or wetlands, but for the most part, it's not easy and it's a turn off. But say it's 50% in a flood zone, I would put like a 25% discount on your value. I don't know the math behind that. I don't know why. That's just what I realized. About like a 25% discount.
Yeah.
Rolling terrain. Honestly, like it's fine if it's rolling, it's still drivable. If it's rolling terrain is still drivable, I probably wouldn't put a discount on it. But if there's some steep shit on it, like let's say it's, I don't know, what do you think is like the max percentage slope you could build on? You guys know? 20%?
45 push, 40's push.
40's way too steep. What to sit there?
That's what I'm saying.
Let's just call it 20% slopes.
I think it really matters where it is too, right, Rouse?
Yeah, imagine where it is. Like if your comps are like that, if you look at your comps and it's very similar terrain, like you're kind of just comping it.
I was saying like the road, it's like it's towards the back. It doesn't matter. Just like city out wetlands.
Yeah, like where is matters. So let's say this is your road and this is your property. If it slopes back here, that's no big deal. But if it slopes right here
in some instances, you might have to put a 40% discount on your property because you have to go a crazy driveway to get to the buildable locations. But if there's slope, you don't worry about it. You're fine. But slopes, 20% slopes on this road frontage, that could be bad. Okay. So in some instances, you might have to put 30% discount, maybe 40% discount because it's just a shit show. And in these cases, I usually will talk to a realtor. I want a realtor to go walk this property before I buy it, just to make sure they think it's definitely buildable. And then I'll also ask them what they think the value is. So in a lot of these cases, I'll have realtors give me opinions. Regardless, I like to get realtor opinions. Every single deal I get a realtor opinion on it before I buy it. It's an absolute must. And when people come to me for funding, I say, don't come to me unless you've gotten 2 realtor opinions of value.
Oh, that was the question.
Okay.
What is Yari?
On realtor opinions, are you get their opinion, or are you sending about their account before you buy crap? If you're getting a realtor opinion, do they have to go look at the property for their opinion would be valued to you, or did they just look at it online and know the error?
In these spaces, was on wetland slopes, I want to take a look at it. But if it's just a normal property, nothing wrong with it, I'm okay with them just giving me a value that they know the area.
I do have one more question. Is there a tool on Land Insights that allows you to like organize realtors and like get to know who the realtors are out there? Because yeah, I think that could probably save users time.
Yeah, what's that like? So Land Insights, it has realtor reports, okay? So there's a database of all the realtors and all the quantities of sold properties they've had sold. So you could...
Yeah, will be far away to switch it, but yeah, fuck the portal, real fucking seriously, bro. I'm thinking serious. But damn, I didn't even help about that feature. Keep it going. I'm an evidence.
Rob just transferred over to Land Insights from a different software, and he's upset. He didn't realize we had this stuff.
Yeah,
So we have a realtor opinion or realtor reports, which shows a spreadsheet of all the realtors
and their contact information, so their phone number, and then you can also see how many properties they've sold in the last year. So you can rank and okay, this guy has sold a bunch of shit in this county, therefore I'm going to reach out to this.
How much time that saves the average user?
This saves a ton of time.
Hour, 2 hours a week?
I mean, in my business, it probably saves like 10.
That in depth, way more. Is reaching out. That's assuming that you have one quality real.
One feature of Land Insights does that for you.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So what we do is we just export those phone numbers, and then we'll put it in our CRM, and we'll just do a text blast to all the realtors. Hey, I got a deal in this part of the county. Would you be interested in looking at it and give me a value? There's a chance we're going to list it with you in the next couple of months.
Okay. Was awesome. Hey, quick question. There's so many awesome tools and features. If someone were to go book at Paul, how can someone do that? So that they can learn more about it. Land Insights.
Okay, don't let them bug you, bro.
So flat.
Where's my already?
All right, no plugging.
But anyway, you guys want to sign up with Duel? Is there a limited number? Discount. 10 seats a month, guys. Sign up quick. Come on. Top. Discounts apply.
They also get 1,000
Leads refusal. 1,000 free leads. That free. And this show free down. Hey, not plugging it. Just a minute. You know I read you there, bro. We're good. We're back up.
All right, so you guys saw this. This is the framework that's important. This is really the only thing I wanted to go over, is this framework. I'm so freaking tired of people just going off of this because this is the most important thing. Or sales is the most important. Rashi, touch on how, I don't know if you still do it, using land.com to see if the property's ever listed before.
Yeah, because I figure like 20% of them have been listed before, right? So,
Yeah.
so, and how to reach out to that realtor.
Yeah. So things you can do on Land Insights, because you're already in there first, is you want to put your sold comps all the way to 3 years back. And look near the area. Sometimes listings, if your property's here, there might be a listing over here.
and it was the same exact acreage. If it's the same exact acreage as yours and it's over here, there's a chance that might have been a listing for your property. If that was the case, that means that you click on it, make sure it's your actual property that you're looking at. If that was the case, there might be something wrong with it. So look at that listing history, look at what it was listed at. If it was listed really low compared to these numbers we found, there might be something wrong with the property. And then another thing you can do, because not every single listing will make it to Land Insights because it was on the MLS. Land.com, land investors like to list properties on land.com. And so there might have been a chance a land investor listed a double close for sale of that property and they didn't list it on the MLS, but listed it on land.com. If you search that area around your property, you might find that listing. So that's another part of due diligence you want to do, just to make sure your property wasn't listed and there's nothing wrong with it.
And you got to make sure off market, you got to change the filters, make sure everything.
Yeah, so throw all your filters on active, off market, sold. Just look for that same acreage as your property on land.com. Okay, so we went through the basic framework, the comparison, okay? Features. To be honest, utilities don't really matter that much. I know a lot of you guys try to factor in utilities. It really doesn't matter that much. As long as there's power lines, you're good. Like I'd say power lines is the most important thing, but I don't know. Only about 10 to 20% of the properties we look at actually have like a sewer line or a water line or a well. But for the most part, like every property you sell, they usually need to install a well and septic, but there's usually power lines. So as long as there's power lines, you're good. If power lines are like a tenth of a mile away, that's fine. But if power lines are like a mile away, you might have an issue. You might want to put like a 25% discount on that property. Yeah. Again, like obviously we're trying to make as many guesses as possible. Like I'm great at guessing because I've been doing this for a long time. But if you guys are guessing and you don't quite know, just get a realtor opinion of value. Have them look at it. They'll give you a value. And I don't like to just get one. I always want at least two. So 3 was realtor opinions. Minimum of 2. And I say minimum of 2 because one might be lying to you, one might be a horrible realtor. So if you have 2, you can take each opinion with a grain of salt, see how good their description of that value is, and figure out which is better. And maybe you could take the average as well if you trust both of them. Okay. And you want to like bring them all the information you got here. So it's like, okay, I saw that there's this property for sale on the market at this. I noticed, there's a 20% slope in the middle of this property. I also noticed there's no power lines within a mile. I don't think there's a well, it's just septic. You want to give them all that information because you don't want them guessing. You want to try to give them as much information as possible so they could give you a good value. Okay. So usually it depends on your scale, but we like to make an offer at this point. I usually make an offer before I get realtor opinions because we're at a very high scale. We're making sign like at least 15 of these offers a day. But if you guys you're only getting a couple deals a month, it might be worth it to get these realtor opinions before you make the offer, just so you don't mess up. Because once you make this offer, it's very difficult to go back. It's very difficult to say, hey, I looked at the property, we can offer this much. Let's get a signed purchase agreement, and then go back and say, actually, we looked at the property again, and there's something wrong with it. Therefore, we need to go down.
I mentioned that like 3 times.
Yeah.
In both sessions. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So if you guys are on a low scale, I recommend getting these realtor opinions before you make that final offer, because it's hard to circle back after you make that offer.
So would you say, for testing, range offer, they accept, learn about the property, get the realtor opinions, then circle back, give them the final, hey, this is what I could do for you type thing. And then for mail, obviously you have the offer, learn more about the property, hear about where it's at, get the realtor opinions, then circle back, and then give the final offer type thing. Is that the process for both?
Yeah, but go over the first one again.
So I'm in what you do in your business, which is, there's obviously multiple forms of both ways. You could set up neutral letters for mail. You could set up neutral texts as well too, just to get responses. If you do that, obviously you just let the property get on call. If you don't, you send out ranges or blind offers. You're sending out an offering that's already out there as well too, and you don't get on call, even talk to them unless they're within that range. So once you have that, ask the questions. And then obviously, once you feel like, okay, this is something that's qualified, you get back in touch with them for a final offer price, but you don't do that until you actually talk to true realtors, is what you're saying. Then you circle back and then give out, hey, this is what I knew.
Only if you're at a low scale. Yeah. But texting, you're dealing with lotteries.
Okay, a lot of interested people in your range. So like so you're doing first ball contract signer for the test app, not first ball. So okay, for texting, like we'll make an offer and then we'll do like a discovery call basically. We're just asking questions. Hey, is there anything mom mentioned about our in? They have the title, utilities, all that stuff. And then that lead manager who talked to that seller for the discovery call, he's going to take notes inside our CRM. Our ops manager inside the land business will look at those notes and come up with a final offer from there. But we're not doing a one call close because we don't want to make an offer blind, right?
Daggett if there's already a blind offer or a range offer as the unit. Okay.
So there's two steps to this. I went over 1.0, 2.0. So 1.0 yesterday is, okay, you do your best to make a decent blind offer. But when somebody reaches out and they like that, it's not blind anymore. It's a deal. So now we have to make the deal offer, and we want to look at everything, these specifically in your 5-mile radius to make sure we didn't mess up that.
I just really want to enforce that part because you saying you just did up pricing, you've now nailed it 3 times. And it's like, obviously, what you're feeling something multiple times. It's like, this is really important.
Yeah. Okay, so question on my process. Right now, man, it's all man-made. So either comes into the lead manager or Pat Lie, and then that deal gets written in Cowell, and then the acquisition manager, case of Oakadish, comes in, and it has the first call. Then after he has the first call, it goes into, I check his columns right, completely, or it's right. We do change that, and that he has the second call to close. Yeah. Would you change that like I covered first before he even makes your first call? Or would you keep that process?
Right, so you made it as a blind offer and the late payment.
Yes.
Have them call before you even look at it.
Yeah, that's
Because you want to gather information before you make that offer. Like as a business owner, you're spending time on this consistently every day. So you want to make sure you make a decision off of all the information you can gather before. Because he might say there's an environmental easement on the property that doesn't allow you to build. And you would have spent the time comping it when it was actually worthless. So you want your acquisition manager to have all these questions that he's asking to make sure it's a valuable piece of property and there's nothing wrong with it. And that if there's anything extra, maybe like a new well or like a mobile home or a structure that's livable, you want to make sure you get that information so you can use that as well. Or commercial zoning, which is probably the most important.
Is that it? To have a few questions. This is like completely unrelated. So, do you want to finish with your shit and do that as a couple?
Okay, I've got one last thing. So let's say your blind offer is too high.
Yeah. Which happens to a lot of you.
Oh, sorry, I shouldn't go away.
I've been just subbing this.
Luckily, there's another tool that helps you with that land insights pricing, right?
Coming out shortly.
Huh?
It's coming soon.
Oh yeah, connect to 8,000. Little go on.
Okay, blind offer is too high. Okay, this happens to everyone all the time. Happens to me all the time. I say an investment where I mess up too on a daily basis. Okay, so you need to go through that process. Let's say you found that there's a property for sale, like you found the bell curve value, whatever, set that offer, deal comes through, you realize there's a for sale listing that's lower than all of this. Okay, the blind offer is out the door. Hey, depending on your business model, you have to negotiate. If you're doing double poses, you might be able to work out that deal still. Let's say it's worth 80 grand.
but it's actually worth like 60 grand. You might be able to pull off that deal and make like 12 grand after realtor commissions and closing expenses. So you can make that decision yourself. If you want to just cash close it, like that's your business model, you want to cash close it, your margins, like I wouldn't offer more than 45 grand. Or sorry, if it's worth 60 grand now, I would want to be at like 35 grand max for this to be a deal. But you might not even get a funder to approve it at 35 grand. You probably have to be at 30 grand. So depending on your business model, you have certain amounts you could adjust your price based on that. You had a quick question.
Yeah, there's so many people who I connect with, especially newer to the real estate space, people who aim at 6 months or less. Let's double close.
Double close is when you get a purchase agreement signed that allows you to list it for sale before you own it. Some places it's illegal, some places it isn't. I'll let you do that research on your own. But if you list a property for sale, let's say you have an under contract at 40, you haven't bought it yet, and you have it up for 60, if you had an offer at 60, it's almost a certain deal. I wouldn't say it's a certain deal, but it's almost certain that you're gonna make that profit margin, and you might just have to put up the money for a day for that closing to happen. So that's why like your margins can be lower, whereas the cash close, you have to actually buy it and then list it and then sell it, and you don't have the certainty that there's a buyer out there at that 60K price.
Gotcha. Is there something within Land Insights that allows you to coordinate and work with double close specific agents in certain counties?
Yes. So inside the realtor reports section, inside Land Insights, we have several double close realtors who we've talked to, and they've agreed, hey, if somebody contacts you through Land Insights and they have a property they are interested in double closing, that you'll work with them. Okay. That's how we've already known that's good, because it's very difficult to get a realtor to agree to this because their commission's not certain. Well, so they're taking the risk with you. So we identified all the people who are willing to take the risk for you. Okay, that's awesome. So land offers too high, you need to negotiate. So this is where you need to be a good salesperson. If you're making offers too high all the time, you need to make sure you're a good salesperson. If you're a horrible negotiator or it's too horrible at negotiating, either make them better or just make better offers. Make low offers and use the framework that I use. Okay? So when you're negotiating, you always need to use something to negotiate off of. So it's usually going to be a feature of the property. Hey, so plaza and wetlands, those are usually the first they'll go after. If there's a plaza or wetland property, people say, hey, Mr. Seller, I know you wanted 40 grand, and I know we offered 40 grand. But we looked at the property more closely and we discovered there's wetlands and plaza of the property. And as you know, we can't build, like, as you know, as an experienced landowner, you know you can't build on those areas. Therefore, we need to drop price here and here. But I like to stack features. So if there's multiple features, let's say like utilities, there's no water line, there's no well, there's no septic system. You say, hey, I have to invest at least 10 grand into a septic system, 15 grand into a well. I have to pull in power lines. It's going to be another few $1,000s. Is it a lot for us? And I mean, we broke down the prices and that just doesn't make sense for us. So we need to lower our offer to this amount. And then you can stack that with water lines and flood zones as well. In addition to that, we also found there's flood zones as well as on the property. There's other properties in the area that we're interested in looking at. And if we were to buy this at this price, it's just not going to make sense to us if there's other properties out there that have better features than yours. So I know this is something difficult to hear, that we may not offer at this amount, but because of that, we're going to have to lower it, so on and so forth. So feature stacking, basically. So you can just, there's so many things to your advantage. If there's slope, you can say, hey, we have to put in all this work in Modi into excavation to make sure it's flat to build on in this area. It's going to be tens of thousands of dollars, whatever. But if you can stack multiple things, that's going to make your negotiation a lot stronger. And then if they say no to that, long-term follow-up. You're just following up over a long amount of time. We do this all the time. People will say no to our offer initially. 3 months later, they'll come back around and say, hey, oh, I should sell it to you for that amount. So it's basically negotiation and then actually being consistent with your follow-up. You can stack like those who might make a lot of these work.
What percentage of deals do you get from follow-up? What percentage do you get from typical like new people who you reach out to?
12 to 50.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the follow-up process is very, very essential.
Follow up is very important. You can't just, they say no to your offer, you could just let them go. If they showed somewhat interest, if they showed symptoms that, hey, they want to sell, they need that money, you don't want to just let them off the hook. You want to follow up with them. And if you don't have a built out system inside your CRM that like shows you, hey, follow up on this day, this day, this day, this day, you're not an engineer. There's this. You're not going to be consistent. You're not going to get as many deals. But if you can use the powers of your CRM to schedule tasks to follow up these people, you're going to do well. So build out that follow-up.
CRM that you recommend or that Nine Insights encourages users to use?
I use 3 different CRMs, so it really doesn't matter which one you're using. There's Pebble, which is made for land investors. I ever personally use it myself, just because my business run off Follow Boss for so long. I use Follow Boss. I'm happy with that. Records your call. I'm pretty sure Pebble does the same thing. It really doesn't matter what CRM you use. So,
Maybe you have questions.
For your different side, that kind of leads me to our next state. Why do you have 3 different zeros for different positions, like your disto, your acquisition?
I have 3 different businesses.
Oh,
Yeah. There's 3 different lane businesses, but that goes to show you don't,
like CRMs are.
Do you also have 3 other data provider? We stay with one.
no, this just one. This one data provider, Played Insights.
Okay. Question.
Fuck, we gotta make that. Hold on.
Hold on, folks. So I know, and this honestly is not even plug you for LinkedIn Insights. You already know. There's a fucking way to edit photos. Is there a PO on that? Like,
Yeah.
honestly, is there a PO?
Yeah, this is a teachable course.
Okay, well, yeah, this has to be all. All right.
Yeah, on Played Insights, you could look at the course and then it'll log with the course.
Yeah.
And you use that for every single one of your photos?
Yeah.
You have a person who does that.
Well, you used to give the login to a realtor.
Oh, shit.
Damn, do that. Oh, yeah, they could do it. Holy fuck, that's really nice. Yeah.
And then also you say, as you know, you're a dispo manager. What does your dispo managers do? Like, what are they responsible for? If I were to have one, and you were to start from scratch, and you needed one, what would you have to do? What would you have to get?
Disco manager. It's a very high level position.
Assuming I'm taking care of the transactions through my pay.
Yeah, if you're making like over 300 grand a year, it makes sense to get one of these. This is their dispo manager. So their job is everything posts, signs, purchase agreement, PA. They should be doing everything post sign PA. Like your goal is to not be involved in this process at all. Yeah, because it's tedious, it's repetitive, there's a system to it. There's no point in you working in a system, Jay.
So follow off is acquisition. So that's like with follow ups acquisitions. I'm saying dispo managers only post sign purchase. Yeah. They will do negotiations. Gotcha. Yeah.
And do they do your Excel sheets and whatnot for pricing, or what is that considered?
Why would a dispo manager do it?
Excel, I'm the pricing. What are they? What position is that? Like Excel sheet pricing or not?
That's Comper. Oh, it's just Comper. Okay. Yeah. Dispo manager like this with irrelevant acquisitions. This is just paperwork. So what they're doing is realtor opinions. Listing agreements. Realtor follow-up. Closing coordination.
Yes. Man, what does the waiver exist do?
Guys are babies listening agreements, yeah, post purchase, however, all that stuff. Ideally, wires and sign docs. Yeah, sign docs.
Because you're dispo manager at POA for you.
Yeah, your dispo manager, like if you trust them, yeah, with your banking information and signing documents, if you trust them, you give them a POA. This allows you to travel anywhere in the world, as long as they're in the US. So if you have this figured out with your dispo manager, you can live anywhere in the world. So
That's why
Hey, would you ever hire, sorry to interrupt, then just it's on my head. Would you ever hire overseas to do that shit or not?
absolutely not.
No way.
No. I mean, you can have them do this.
All that's but when it comes to personal info, no way, right?
You can have an overseas VA do these two things: realtor opinions and realtor follow up.
No listing agreements.
No,
I'm not.
no, you need a POA for a listing agreement.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
And now random person will fill cases by still underlining this in our agreement.
yeah,
And then you will have our plan inside you else.
yeah, yeah.
So that's American based. That's the average salary depending on volume. So if you make 500,000 a year,
You're making like 500,000 a year. It's just a part-time job at that point. You could pay someone 25 grand a year.
Oh, to do all that's free.
Because there's not that much you're giving them. You're making 500 grand a year. There's not that many deals. So it's not much work for them.
It's just a side gig, bro. So let's say they just work in an office or they work next to a notary. It's not much work for them to go run around, do paperwork, and follow realtors.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that eagle sweater?
There's custom made in Panama.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, where are you, Panama?
Remember securing the Panama Canal?
Really?
Nice. Yeah. So Trump sent us out, then Trump custom made. He's eating sweaters full.
Shout out President Trump. Memorial Day.
We have veterans.
yeah. Memorial Day. Memorial Day. Absolutely. All right. Any other questions?
You're serious about flipping land for predictable profit, and you want to plug into the exact system our students are using to close their first deal or their next 10 deals, then tap the video right here. It's a free 15-minute strategy call where we're going to pull back the curtain and show you the exact Leah system that our students are using right now. We'll show you the entire process A to Z, how you can start landing deals in the next 90 days or less. Slots tend to fill up fast. Grab your spot now. And I look forward to showing you the exact Leah land flipping playbook that I've been using for the last 6 years and that nearly 500 other Leah members have used today. Click it and I'll see you inside.